Hello guys, I'm Cambridge English teacher Rory from studentlanguages.com, and if you want to know how to pass part 2 of the CAE, that's C1 Advanced writing paper, emails, then keep watching this video and I will show you how to do that. And don't forget to watch until the end of this video, because at the end I'm going to show you how you can access a C1 Advanced, that CAE video course, completely free. So first I want to tell you a bit about the format of this video. The first thing I'm going to do is to quickly, in less than a minute, tell you about the writing paper in the CAE exam. And I am then going to drill down into my 8-step strategy for successfully writing emails for this part of the exam. So there's going to be a lot of information in this video, and I recommend taking a pen and writing notes as we go through. But let's get started straight away with the format of the writing paper. So, in the writing paper there are 2 parts. Part 1 is an essay, and part 2 you have to write an answer, and you have 3 questions and you have to choose one of them to write an answer about. Now these 3 questions can be based on a variety of things, including reports, reviews, proposals, letters, and also emails. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in this lesson, how to write an effective email for this part of the exam. Quick reminder, this video will form part of my YouTube playlist for CAE writing, and I will put a link to that above me now for you. So what I've done is I've gone to a page on my website where I have recently written a post. Now this is in the forum of my website, and if you want to contribute and speak to other students and other teachers taking the Cambridge exams, then I will put a link above me showing you a video of how you can sign up and join this forum. If you're not a member, you can't contribute, but you can still read all the useful topics of conversation in the forum. All you need to do is go to studentlanguages.com/forum. And the specific page that we're looking at today is at this web address here. So type this into your web browser and you can read along with me. Okay, so it says CAE Writing Part 2, Emails. The first bit again is explaining a little bit of information about Part 2 of the exam. So you have 90 minutes, 2 tasks. I recommend 45 minutes for one task, 45 minutes for the second task. You need to write between 220 and 260 words. So let's get started. Step number 1, make sure you know how the examiners mark the exam. They use something called an examiner's assessment scale, and I made a video about this, so you should watch that, because if you can understand how the examiners mark the exam, you can understand how to improve your marks and make a better answer. Step number 2 is to look specifically at what examiners want from an email. Now, I'm going to go through some of these points in the next few steps for you. So if you want to watch me do a presentation on this, and for all the other parts of the writing paper, I've actually made a CAE writing video course, and I will put a link to that with a 90% discount in the information for you. You can check it out if you want to, but I am going to go through a lot of the information right now for you as part of my strategy. Okay, so quick recap. Step number 1, make sure you know how the examiners mark the exam. Step number 2, what are the examiners looking for from an email? Step number 3, do practice examples before the exam and time yourself. This will help you to know how long the exam lasts, and there are other benefits to this which you will see in the next few steps. So how to answer an email and what to write is largely dependent on the question itself. So step number 4 is to read the question fully and underline the main points. While you are reading the question, you want to make sure you know who the target reader is. That's really important. Who is the target reader? Who are you writing your email for? And here's a useful quote that I've taken from the Cambridge English Advanced Handbook for Teachers. And it says, candidates can expect to be asked to write to, for example, the editor of a newspaper or magazine, the director of a company, to a school, to a college principal, or to a peer. So depending on who you are writing to will impact how you write in your email and the type of language you use. So make sure you know who is the target reader. So after doing step 4, you should have an idea of what type of language you might need to use. And step 5 is to take 5 minutes to plan your answer. And this is why reading the question again will be really helpful, because you can see whether you need to write more personal information, for example to a magazine editor, or perhaps more factual information. The target reader can help with this, but so can reading the question. And here's another quote that I've taken from the Cambridge English Advanced Handbook for Teachers, which is to reassure somebody, to correct a misunderstanding, or to justify a course of action. And these are some of the typical things you also might be asked to do in an email. You might be asked to reassure somebody, to correct a misunderstanding, or to justify a course of action. So depending on which of these you're asked, and depending on who the target reader is, that could change your language quite a lot in an email. Okay, step number 6 is then to write your answer. And this should take about 30 to 35 minutes, I recommend. You should practice with a pen or with a pencil, timing yourself for 30 or 35 minutes, because that is how it's going to be in the exam. If you can simulate the exam, you will be much better prepared. So we know to look for the target reader. We know to read all the parts of the question and make sure you answer all the necessary parts of the question. Some other key points in emails are to make sure you give it an appropriate opening. Perhaps dear sir or dear madam might be necessary. And at the end, maybe yours sincerely or yours faithfully and your name. Also writing clear paragraphs. And if you want more detailed information about which of these to use, again, I have got this information in my CAE writing video course, and I've put the link below in the description for that course. It tells you when yours sincerely is appropriate, when yours faithfully is appropriate, etc. You can even watch some free preview lessons from that course, so check it out. It's the one that says 90% discount in the description with this video. So when you are writing, when you make a point, try to develop this point as much as you can, because this will give you more opportunity to show your language, your vocabulary, and your grammar structures. So when you're practicing, write a point, try to develop it. Try to turn one sentence into 3 or 4 sentences. It's also important that you show that you can link your ideas together in an appropriate way. So using linking words, for example, however and but will be useful, but also in the way you structure your email. And that is why planning your email at the beginning is important, so you can create a nice flow from one paragraph to the next. So you should try to use complex language when you're writing. The examiner will reward you for using complex language, even if you make some small mistakes. If they don't confuse the examiner, and if it's easy to understand what you mean, you will be rewarded. So I recommend trying to use some complicated grammar structures and vocabulary, etc. Step number 7 is to take 3 to 8 minutes reading over your work at the end. Why should you do this? You should do this mainly to check that your writing is easy to follow. Where you lose marks is when the examiner finds it difficult to follow what you're saying. So read over your work, make sure the points are clear, make sure there's no areas of confusion or misunderstanding. Sometimes this can happen easily with smaller mistakes as well. For example, with verbs, if you've written he go rather than he goes, for example. So make sure that your writing is clear and that there are not many mistakes which confuse the reader in their understanding. Finally, step number 8, when you're practicing and you're timing yourself and you're writing, you should look to see whether you've written within the word limit in the time you've given yourself. And then you should look how long your writing is on a page, because you don't want to spend time counting your words in the exam. You just want to have a good idea, okay, this is how long my writing looks, so this is roughly how much I need to write in the exam. Okay guys, so there was a lot of information in those 8 steps, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm very quickly going to summarize the 8 steps for you. So step number 1, make sure you know how the examiners mark the exam. Step number 2, make sure you know what the examiners are looking for from an email. Step number 3, do practice examples before the exam. Step number 4, at the beginning, take 2 minutes to read the question and underline the most important parts. Watch out for the target reader. Watch out for what the question is asking you to do. Step number 5, take 5 minutes after you've read the question, after you've underlined the important parts, 5 minutes to plan your answer. Think about the structure, think about what you're asked to do, who the target reader is. Step number 6, take 30 to 35 minutes to write your answer, develop your points properly, link your paragraphs together well, make sure you've answered all the parts of the question and again are targeting the target reader, and make sure you try to use a few complicated grammar or vocabulary structures. Step number 7, take 3 to 8 minutes to read your work at the end, making sure that it's easy to follow. And step number 8 is to look how long your writing is when you're practicing, so you know how long your writing needs to be in the exam. Okay guys, so there was a lot of information there for you, but this information is in my forum. I've written this topic post for you. I showed you how to find this at the beginning, and I will put a link to this forum where you can read this information in the description for you. I really hope you enjoyed this video guys, and what I recommend for you to do now is to go and visit my website, studentlanguages.com. It's full of useful information. The best place to start is my ultimate guide to CAE page. It will tell you the best way to prepare yourself from now until you get to the exam, avoiding spending unnecessary money and time going to language schools or buying bad resources. I've got everything for you, so look at the website, help yourself save money and time, prepare yourself in a good way for the exam, and make sure you pass the exam. I really hope you enjoyed the video guys. If you did enjoy it and you want to help other students find my work, then please give the video a like and please subscribe to my channel, because it will help my channel to grow and it will help other students find my work. I would really appreciate that. And if you want to access your free CAE video course, I will put a video up here now for you showing you how to do that. Okay guys, so I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Cambridge English teacher Rory from studentlanguages.com. Bye bye.